to call on the next speaker, who is Dr. Sesiro Doreen. Dr. Sesiro will be speaking to us on a moral evaluation of transhumanism alignment with Botho's metaphysics. Dr. Sesiro is a lecturer at University of Botswana. She teaches philosophy, and her areas of interest are transhumanism and African metaphysics. She holds a PhD in philosophy, especially in metaphysics, from the University of Pretoria in South Africa, and her MA in philosophy is from St. Augustine College of South Africa. She also holds an MA in theology and religious studies, a postgraduate diploma in education, and a BA in humanities from the University of Botswana. Alongside teaching, she's a prison minister and an active board member of the Botswana Crime Research Institute, a non-governmental organization. Dr. Doreen, we are happy to have you here. Please speak to us.
Good afternoon, gentle ladies and gentlemen. My name is Doreen. My paper is titled A Moral Evaluation of Botho's Alignment with Metaphysical Aspects of Biotechnological Enhancement. So the main question is whether the potential metaphysical changes brought by some biotechnological enhancements are morally right or wrong. So the key term Botho refers to an indigenous philosophy prominent in Botswana. Botho is usually used to designate a philosophical system about how Botswana perceive and interpret the world around them, personhood, and life in general. Botho is the Setswana version or Setswana expression of Ubuntu. The commonly preferred term is Ubuntu, although some scholars use Botho and Ubuntu interchangeably. So Botho basically means personhood in several different senses. Botho is used in different ways in philosophical literature. It connotes metaphysical, epistemological, and moral or social ideas. Okay, so I want to start by contrasting metaphysical personhood and moral personhood. Metaphysical personhood refers to the essence of a person. It is also used to indicate what a particular person essentially is, as distinct from other persons. That's what Anglo-American philosophers usually call personal identity. Moral personhood, on another hand, refers to a process of becoming a real or complete person by being recognized as having exhibited good character and acting accordingly for the sake of the community. Moral personhood can also mean humanness or virtue, so that the more personhood one has, the better his or her moral character. I think it's important to draw a line between metaphysical personhood and moral personhood, because some scholars conflate the two uses. For example, they claim that an individual is not a person, hana botho or hasemoto. This claim is made when somebody has exhibited a bad character. This claim is not to be taken literally to mean that they are not essentially persons. It doesn't mean they are not metaphysically persons. Rather, the claim is used metaphorically to mean that an individual has failed to exhibit humanness or what is valuable or what is virtuous to persons. There's, however, a relationship between metaphysical personhood and moral personhood. For example, the nature of human persons determines what should happen to them. Because of their essence or their nature, human persons ought to be treated in a certain way, excluding certain other ways. This comes out clear in the case of enhancement, where some philosophers argue that enhancements might affect personhood. It might affect the essence of a person, and further arguing that it is morally wrong just for that reason. I argue that enhancements which are consistent with Botho in the metaphysical sense could be morally right. Next, I want to differentiate persons and human beings. It is often assumed that human beings and persons mean the same thing, and sometimes philosophers do use the words interchangeably. This usage is illustrated by Kwame Geke, 1987, and Kwame Anthony Appiah, 2004. I think it is critical to distinguish between the terms humanness and personhood, or human being and person. Whereas humanness is the essence of being a human being, personhood is the essence of being a person. According to my interpretation, the metaphysical perspective of Botho indicates that there are beings in reality called a human being and a person with different ontological status. Persons are immateriality and relationality. They are immaterial aspect in relation. Thus, persons are more than mere material bodies and could, in principle, survive without their current bodies. Human beings, on another hand, are material and immaterial aspects. The difference between persons and human beings is that human beings should have bodies. Bodies are necessary for being human. Persons may have bodies and may not have bodies, but human beings always have bodies. So the human body is a distinct feature. The absence of it in a being would disqualify it from being human. The immateriality, which is necessary for both human beings and persons, presupposes the presence of relationality and rationality. And this makes the immaterial aspect to be characteristically relational and rational. For example, the immaterial aspect does not die when the body dies. It continues to interact with, intervene in, or interfere with human life. So persons do not cease to exist after losing their bodies at death. Next, we want to define biotechnological enhancements. Biotechnological enhancements are interventions designed to improve the human person's form or function beyond the norm. We can contrast biotechnological enhancements with medical interventions. Medical interventions are meant to prevent or cure disease, whereas enhancement is meant to improve a condition that is viewed as a normal function. For example, improving intelligence. Improving intelligence is an enhancement because all normal human persons ordinarily possess intelligence. So biotechnologically enhanced humans are often labeled as transhumans, regardless of the degree to which they've been enhanced. So next, I want to discuss those enhancements which are applicable to the metaphysical aspect of Botho in regard to free will and knowledge capabilities. For example, we have pharmacological enhancements, which could improve cognitive capabilities. So the improvement in cognition implies the improvement in knowledge. Knowledge capabilities influences free will. In other words, the boundaries of what an enhanced human person could do would be extended The other thing is that they will be well-informed. And being well-informed means that they would be able to choose appropriate actions. And this could restore communal harmony. Whereas A.E. Chimakonam 2021 argues that moral enhancement is not compatible with normative personhood, my position is that if moral enhancement aligns with the metaphysical perspective of Botho, it could be morally right. For example, enhancement does not necessarily have a negative impact on personhood, on free will, or knowledge capabilities. It does not lead to diminished options. Rather, it may lead to new and even more options. Suppose we enhance an individual to a point they're never able to choose evil. Well, in that case, we are decreasing their options and we are making this individual to be less free. But this enhancement does not take away their free will completely. A scenario where this individual is to resolve a conflict, for example, they may choose to be silent, they may choose to accept a fault, they may choose to apologize, they may choose to give a hug, they may choose to buy a gift. You know, the choices are infinite. The other enhancement is gene enhancement, where embryos could be selected for intelligence. You're probably asking yourself whether a genetically enhanced person could be free. You see, human nature is dynamic, partially human-made, and improvable. So if a genetically enhanced individual is not essentially free, then we'd have to ask what makes the genotype that has been produced by enhancement different from the genotype that has been produced by nature. Yet we know that the genotypes could be the same. So through gene enhancement, we can enhance our children to allow superior athletic performance, for example. We could eliminate genes for criminality, for example. And then we have mind uploading, where consciousness could be backed up and sustained in forms far more durable than the human body. This consciousness could be improved to create infinite knowledge. Improved knowledge, suggests that enhanced individuals could make informed choices. And improved consciousness could also confer a unique moral standing on enhanced individual. There are, however, some enhancements which are detrimental to free will. For example, enhancing an individual to a point that are devoid of thinking, but acting according to other deterministic process. According to the metaphysical perspective of Botho, such an individual would not be either a person or a human being. They are not human beings nor persons. In Setswana, there's this phrase, "Motho ga itsewe e se naga." This saying translates to, unlike land, a human person is unknowable. So the meaning of this Setswana saying is that the human person is unpredictable. The human person developed freedom independently, but robots are programmed. So robots may change their minds and they can be predictable, but human person can change their minds. Hence the Setswana saying, "Motho ga itsewe e se naga." Another enhancement which is morally wrong is where we enhance people without their consent. This is wrong because it takes away their freedom on a particular occasion. It takes away their physical and mental ability to exercise their free will. But it does not take away their free will. It doesn't take away their ability to process information and make their own decisions. According to the metaphysical perspective of Botho, an individual is viewed as rational. And being rational means this individual is capable of making informed choices regarding whether to enhance or not to enhance themselves. So enhancing people without their consent is wrong because it would limit their decision to or not to be enhanced, even though it does not take away their freedom of will. Next, I discuss enhancements which are applicable to the metaphysical aspect of Botho in regard to human nature. I use the phrase human nature to indicate the metaphysical components of a human being, unlike others who use it to discuss empirical and particularly psychological aspects of humanity. You see, human beings can lose their characteristic features and retain their humanity. They can, for example, lose their memory. Remember that according to the metaphysical perspective of Botho, the immaterial aspect in relation is what makes an individual a person. So a person is not just consciousness, it's not just mental aspects. A person is defined broadly in terms of the immaterial aspect, which consists of the spirit and even vital force. So when an individual loses their memory, they don't lose their personhood. They can lose half of their bodies, they still retain their humanity. They could replace half of the body because you see, the human body is a fleshy machine. Most parts are replaceable. It can replace healthy body parts with artificial, mechanical, or genetically engineered prostheses. We also have mind uploading, where an entirely new body is cloned and information is transferred to the clone. So this is similar to the African concept of reincarnation, where the ancestral spirit inhabits a newborn baby. It's important, however, to know that not all bodies would be human. For example, bodies with silicone, cyborg bodies, this would not be human beings. If the body is observably different, it would not be human. Because even if it's a computer, for example, if we empty the mental aspects into a computer, it will not be a human being because human beings do not inhabit objects. So you're probably asking yourself, when is the clearest time a transhuman act is substantially affected? I would think the clearest time a transhuman act is substantially affected is when there is the absence of the living body. For example, through death. If the material aspect is substantially affected, resulting in the body perishing, there would be separation between these two aspects. The immaterial would not be affected because it would no longer be limited by perceptible conditions. However, it would no longer exist as a human being, but it could exist as a person. And then we have those enhancements that would not necessarily affect personhood or personal identity, and it would not limit knowledge capabilities. For example, disembodiment, where we are replacing the entire human body with a virtual body. I liken this scenario to the African traditional concept where the living dead exist without bodies. The living dead interact with the living people daily. Okay, let me go to the next one, where enhancement maybe enhancements which would be detrimental to personhood and personal identity. For example, we have a case where there is existence of self-awareness without immateriality or relationality. For example, a conscious, purely physical, isolated being. You know, such an enhanced individual would not be a person, nor a human being. Because, you know, according to the metaphysical perspective of Botho, persons do not just drop from the sky. So persons are essentially birthed by parents, and they are raised in a particular family. So a merely physical individual who does not have relational history with any person or family would not be a person. And they're not human either, because both humans and persons are relational. So any enhancement that threatens human relationship is morally wrong. So in conclusion, I argue that most enhancements which are consistent with the Botho in regard to free will, human nature, personhood, and personal identity could be morally good. Thank you very much. I was very quick, I guess.
Thank you very much, Dr. Doreen. This lecture is really interesting. Okay.